Hey, it's Luke here, and welcome to my annual video, and in this one I'm going to be detailing my £750 Audi A4. Now, please forgive me for using old footage at this point because I didn't have any walk-around shots of the car before the detail, and that's not really going to make much of a difference to this video because the car looks well on camera because it was pretty good in person anyway. There were some swirl marks to the paint, some contamination, nothing too major to be fair, and the swirl marks don't really show up on a silver car too well unless you get them in the perfect light to see them. Nevertheless, I did do a full machine polish, a full decontamination and put protection on the car, and I do think the end result still looked a fair bit better in just terms of just a little bit more pop and a bit more definition to the car. Some of you may also remember the A3 when I stuck some new wheels on that a few months ago. Now when I sold that car I took the wheels back off and kept them for myself. I stuck the original wheels back on the A3 when it went, and I've just had those newer wheels refurbished, so they're going to go on the A4, and I've just had some wheel spacers made up to make them sit correctly in the arches of the car, so I'm going to be sticking them on in this video as well. Also, you may remember in the introduction video on the A4 there was rust to both of the front wings, and the driver's one was particularly bad. So in the meantime I've actually stuck a new wing on the driver's side of the car, and I did order one for the passenger but that came bent into two, so unfortunately I've not got that one on yet. The passenger one still looks okay, but it's only a matter of time till it starts becoming more visible, so I'll be doing that in the near future. Now the first thing I did was apply the protection to the wheels since they were off the car already, so I made it much easier to do it this way around. I'm applying Ceramics by Finesse, who very kindly sent this through for review. I will be doing a full review of this very soon, but for this video I'm just going to be doing a quick overview of the application process. In the kit you get most of the things you need to protect your wheels for 12 months. You get a preparation spray, the ceramic coating, a few application cloths and a pair of latex gloves so it doesn't get on your hands. The only thing you don't get, which would be nice to see, would also be some microfiber cloths because buffing is necessary for when you're taking it off the surface and also when you're applying a preparation spray. Applying is very easy, you just hit the preparation spray to the inside of the wheels to remove any residue in there, but I would say super clean your wheels first to get them as clean as possible. Now I've made a video on this already, so there's a link, should be in the top right of the screen, click on that if you want to view what I've done, but of course I didn't apply the coating or the protection at the end of that video because obviously this is doing the job. So once you've done that, apply the preparation spray, wipe that off, then you apply the ceramic coating using the application cloths that come with the kit, and then buff them off with a microfiber towel. And it's also worth getting a torch and just making sure that there's no residue left on the wheels, which is very easy to do with silver wheels because they mask things really well. With that done, the wheels are ready to go on the car. With the Ceramics kit, it's worth noting that you need to leave the wheels away from water for about 4 hours. I actually left the car for 24 hours before I went on to the pre-wash, and I started off by using Citrus Power by Finesse, which is going to give a little bit more bite to those more soiled areas of the car than just using snow foam alone. So hopefully once you get onto the contact stage, there's less for us to deal with, so there's less chance of us scratching the car. I also did the same with Sam's Active Insect Remover, just to try and soften the insects on the front again, so it's not something we have to try and scrub off when we actually go to the contact stage, before finally hitting the car with a more traditional snow foam, which honestly does the bulk of the work anyway, but we just wanted to give every chance we can to get the car as clean as possible without touching it. One thing to note is the weather started off on a nice dull day, perfect conditions to wash the car, and you can see it's gradually getting lighter and lighter. And this is really not what I want to be working with. It was hot, it was direct sunlight, and unfortunately that's the caveat of working outside. We don't have a sealed professional environment where we control essentially the weather in there. We don't have proper lights, we just have to work what we have, and that's the downside of driveway detailing. I can guarantee we'll either rain when we wash a car or it's going to go sunny. It's never going to stay that nice dull weather because this is Britain. But anyway, onto the wash stage, 2 bucket method, Sam's shampoo in there using Sam's buckets, and Sam's wash mitts. It's a bit of a Sam's fest here actually, along with an Auto Finesse fest. And then with all that done, it's onto the it's onto the decontamination stage of the car, and I'm using iron reactor by Sam's Detailing here to remove any iron particles in the paintwork of the car. The car was actually pretty good, there wasn't much iron on there. I think the car's been kept in the countryside, away from rail networks, away from motorways, so it was pretty clean in its environment. There was a little bit of reaction to the bottom of the car, but nothing too serious. Halfway through this, I had to flip the car around because it was getting too hot, and I did not want to apply this product in direct sunlight because you do not want this drying on the paintwork. So again, I applied the exact same thing to the other side and the back of the car, blasted off with a pressure washer, and then dried the car off as quickly as possible. Now, I probably didn't leave this to dwell as long as I should have because of the heat, so maybe I didn't remove as much of the particles as I would normally hope to. But I think this was the lesser of two evils. Again, just working with what I have here. Then it was on to stage 2 of the decontamination, which was tar removal, and I used Kleen Tar and Glue Remover, which comes in at about £20 for 5 litres. So it is very cheap and it is very effective. It's probably now my go-to tar removal, and I will leave a link to this and all the products used in the description below as always. To apply this, you just spray it on the paintwork of the car, again outside of direct sunlight, leave it to dwell on the tar for about 60 seconds, apply some to the cloth as well, and then just buff off, and then anything that doesn't come off in the first pass, just to go off and do the exact same thing again, do a second pass, and hopefully most of it will be removed at that point. You will see some specks on the bottom of the door still. This is actually iron particles which didn't come off with the iron remover because I couldn't let it sit too long. I just did a second pass with the iron remover after that, and then everything came off and the doors were perfectly clean at the bottom and looks great. Then it was on to stage 3, which was the clay bar stage. Firstly, I was trying a clay pad by Auto Finesse, which fits onto their handy puck system, and it's nice to see them adding more things into the range. However, in reality, I found them a little bit too small to be useful. Essentially, the surface area wasn't much more than a clay bar, and at that stage I found Auto Finesse's normal clay bar to be more effective than the clay pads for the handy puck. And I then just broke out my clay mitt by Sam's Detailing, which has a massive surface area, and applied that to the rest of the car. And this really just breezed through all the contamination on the car very, very easily. And when all that was done, it was time to move on to the machine polishing stage, but in all honesty, it was too hot at this point to do a machine polish, so I just dried the car off and I left it for 24 hours. When it wasn't quite as hot the next day, there was still some sun, but I could deal with that, it was a few degrees cooler. And I really felt like if I just applied in this heat, the results would have been terrible. For the machine polish, I'm using One Step by Auto Finesse, who very kindly sent that product down as well for me to review, and I will be doing a full separate review of that product very, very soon. For this video, I'm just going to do a quick overview and give some quick thoughts and feedback of what I think of the product. I'm combining this with my Auto Finesse DPX Dual Action Polisher alongside the Lake Country yellow and orange pads. I start off by priming the pad and spreading it around the car on a low speed, which will allow it then to just evenly coat the paintwork, so when I stick up to a higher speed, it's not going to fling off everywhere. The yellow pad I'm using on this is their heavier cutting pad, which will remove more swirl marks but not give as good of a finish. And I experiment on this detail just by trying a couple different pads to see which one gives the optimum results with this product. But so far, I did actually find this product to give really, really good results. Now, you're not going to remove all the swirls and get a perfect finish at the same time with a one-step product. That's just not the way they work. But overall, I'm doing 4 passes on the car. I probably removed 90 to 95% of the swirl marks and had a great finish as well. Overall, I found that the orange pad was the better out of the two, which toes the line between a polishing pad and this firmer compounding pad, because I didn't find the products cut that much better with the yellow pad, but there was definitely a better finish with the orange pad, and for the one-step products, I think that's the optimum pad. Now, I'm totally aware that using 2 different pads on this type of product defeats the purpose of this product, because if you're using 2 different pads, you might as well use a different compound and a different polish to get the optimum results. This is just to find out which one works better. But overall, I was very impressed with the finish on this product. I actually think for the likes of this car, with driveway detailing, it's more than enough what people need. There was very little dusting if you keep your pads clean, very easy to work with, and it lasted a very long time in terms of it had a very oily finish to it, which was great. It didn't just cake up and turn to dust straight away, so there was lots of work time. And kind of combining it with DPX polisher, you got a good system there that doesn't cost the earth to do. Sure, if you go to these really expensive DA polishers like the Rupes ones with dedicated 2 or 3 step compounds, you're going to get better results, yeah, sure, but by that time you're going to be using proper lighting as well. So driveway detailing, this gets a thumbs up for me. And I also then just finished off by using the 1 step by hand in just things like underneath the door handles and that, just to make that final bit of difference to the car. Once that was all done, I decided to wash the car very quickly one more time with Meguiars Wash Plus. This has micro abrasives in which can enhance the shine a little bit. The main reason behind this was just to ensure there was no residue left from the compounds or the polishers, and no dust on the paintwork of the car. So when I apply some protection to it, it's just as clean as possible. We're not trying to move any dirt here, and I'm going in circular motions on purpose to make sure anything that's on there in terms of compounds and residue will come off. And that's why I'm using 1 bucket, because there shouldn't be any grit, any dirt getting cross-contaminated in this very quick wash. Then I needed to clean it off as quick as possible, and because obviously it was going to dry quickly in the sunlight. And this has been the bane of this detailers, because every time I go to wash the car when it's dull or clean or do something to the car, the sun then comes out halfway through. To protect the car, I'm using Fusion by Finesse, which is a hybrid wax sealant. I was going to use their Caramics bodywork protection. They were unfortunately out of stock at the time, so they couldn't send it through to me, so I decided to use this out of my personal inventory of stuff, which I found to be a very good hybrid wax sealant, typically lasting from 6 to 8 months in previous use. I then finished off by applying some tie dressing to the car, and I'm using Sam's tie dressing, which I find to be very good. It lasts for a couple of weeks, very easy to go on alongside Sam's applicator pad. I did most of the wheel and then just rolled the car forward a couple of meters, then just to do the bit that was sitting on the tarmac. To protect the glass, I'm using the Caramics Glass Protection Kit, which comes with everything you need to protect the glass for 12 months. In the kit, you get the glass polish, a residue remover, some latex gloves, and 6 wipes with a ceramic coating formula on them, alongside some detailed instructions. Now, the instructions say to apply the glass polish to a microfiber cloth and work it into the glass. I actually found it easier to apply it to the handy puck system with the compounding pad on it. This gave me a little bit more cut since the compounding pad is stiffer than a microfiber cloth, and is also more ergonomic, allowing me to cover the large surface area of glass much easier. I then buffed it off with a clean microfiber cloth. The one thing I took away from this is comparing it to Autoglim's glass polish. There is so much less residue with the Auto Finesse one. With the Autoglim one, I kind of you buffer off and there's a bit more there, and you notice white when you get into the car where you've missed some. This come off very easily first pass with a clean microfiber cloth. You also may notice I'm doing this again on a dull day. I left this another 24 to 48 hours before applying this to the glass, because you don't want to apply it in direct sunlight. You also don't want to apply it when it's raining either. So, hard to do in Britain, to be honest. But before I applied the glass polish, I actually just used a little bit of normal glass cleaner to remove any dust or dirt that may be on there. Onto the ceramic coating itself. Now this comes in 6 separate wipes, which has the ceramic coating applied to the wipe, which is a really unique and easy way of applying it to the car, which is very foolproof. You very simply just go down and up, one pass really each way, and then go side to side, and then basically buff it off with the residue remover almost straight away, which is as easy as it can get. Unfortunately, the one thing I found was only 4 out of my 6 wipes had coating on them. The other 2 seem to have just completely dried up. Now the wipe packets looks like they had a little bit of damage, so maybe mine was from a reject batch that was sent out just for samples, and that's why it was dry. Not a great start in that sense, but there was enough, fortunately, just about on the 4 wipes to apply it to all the glass on my A4. Once applied, you basically don't really have to wait that long with it. By the time you got to one side of the glass to the other, it's ready to buff off. Now you just spray the glass with the residue remover quite generously all over, and then buffed off with the microfiber towel, and all the residue came off pretty much on the first pass. The one thing I'll take away from this was extremely easy to use. And driving it so far in this rainy weather on the motorway, the beading's pretty good in terms of if I'm doing 70 miles an hour, I don't have to have my wipers on, so hopefully that will last for the entire year. If it does, that would be fantastic. So there we go, there's the detail on my £750 Audi A4, and overall I'm pretty happy with the results. All the products worked as they should have, and I think considering it was done on a driveway in bad weather, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the overall results. The paint's got a nice amount of shine now to it, and the paint looks a lot newer than what you'd expect on a 13-year-old car. Now of course I didn't do before and after the swirl marks because they just wouldn't show up on camera. I did try to capture them, but it just looked the same. But in person, there is a noticeable reduction in the amount of swirls in the paint. Anyway, if you want to see more stuff like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, see you soon, and take care.